Little Caesars changed the game, bro.
They did.
Little Caesars changed. That's the most shot of shit.
Hey, Chewy, blood. They want you on the podcast, bro. Look, he Mexican, bro. You gotta put him on.
Am I interrupting your depression? I'm sorry.
This week's episode of The Voice Party is brought to you by Big Boy Raps. Get your car wrapped by some of the most experienced and skilled in the Bay. Big Boy Raps, where the big boys play.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, millions watching all over the world, we present you the latest episode of The Voice Party. We got the man, the myth, the legend, comedian extraordinaire, JD. We've got the amazing band leader himself, Marco.
Richmond band.
Pop band.
A pop band from Richmond. We have Corday Snell, comedian extraordinaire. We have Phil on the boards. Yours truly, Joaquin Xavier, and our auspicious guest. Please introduce yourself to the masses.
My name is Gabriela.
Just Gabriela.
I was gonna say his one.
Okay, the last name. I like it.
Right.
She's like Seal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
McLovin.
Exactly.
McLovin.
Who you, Seal? Yeah. Tell listeners what you do.
I guess I do a lot of things. Primarily, I'm an intuitive reader, so I do tarot readings, oracle readings. I recently started making music. I make graphic art. I paint. I've taken photos before. I model. So I kind of just do whatever I want, to be honest. Whatever's the mood for the day.
Nice.
We started messaging because of the tarot reading.
Oh yeah.
How often do you do that? Because I know that's like really popular right now.
Yeah, so I started doing tarot readings when it was my senior year of high school, and my school did this thing where it was your senior project, and everyone did like cooking and skydiving and like race car driving and break dancing, and then I wanted to be a tarot reader. So I learned it all the way through. I learned everything about it when I was in high school, and I practiced pretty regularly. And then when right before the pandemic, I started taking myself really seriously when it came to that. And I was kind of embarrassed because I had been Christian a couple of years before. I was like full-blown Christian. Like I was preaching. I was like part of a church. I went to church like 3 times a week. And then when that came about, it was like, damn, like, are you just like a Saturday Night Live character? Like, this is my tarot reader character. This is my preacher character, right? So I started taking myself really seriously though, and I had a crystal shop, and I started like offering readings to my friends. And then during the COVID shutdown, business was booming because everybody was at home.
Am I gonna get COVID?
Right? It's like, COVID. Everyone was at home. Everyone had unemployment money, so people had money to like spend on these things where you normally wouldn't have the money to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would go on Instagram Live and just do like readings all day long for like everybody in the live, or I would do like a general reading for the people, and that was during the time when I really got kind of like my audience in that. And then I have like regulars that come to me. At one point, I remember I was like reading for like kind of like a family of women. Like the sister would come, and then the friend of the sister would come, and then so it's just like those people that keep coming back because they kind of like your insight, your input. But now I don't do it as much. I have like a lot of other things going on, so I took my booking link down, but the people that already know me will hit me up for the readings.
Funny you say that, because all growing up Catholic, everyone tells you to stay away from with the Ouija board, any kind of future readings, and tarot card readings.
Yeah, well, the Bible's similar to the Ouija board and the tarot cards too, though.
Really?
How?
Yeah, it's the living word, right? So it's like a really mystical book that's filled with a lot of incantations where you speak life, right? So it's like it's like a
prayers?
portal. Yeah, it's a portal and it's prayer. So we as humans, we have this like, this graph where it's like, this is the bad stuff and this is the good stuff, and you get to decide, but it's all on that same, what do you call it?
Same scale.
Exactly. It's like all on that same wavelength of like mystical objects or like
rituals.
Exactly, rituals. So it's all very similar. You just kind of, you pick your poison at that point.
Indeed. And the Christian aspect of it, they'd say, well, yes, those things are all portals, which is exactly why they tell you to stay away. But the question is, who are you communicating with?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, are you communicating with God? Or are you communicating with,
not
the
God
horned one, like the evil one who seeks to devour and all that stuff? Like,
is there? Because they said the tool can be used for either or. So like. That's what I was gonna ask. Like, how do you?
I mean, it is a dark art, and we do a lot of things that are dark art. Like a lot of people watch porn.
That's true.
That's true. And then they do it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like you're telling me that that's not like a ritual and something that opens a portal and kind of like that distorts your brain.
Drinking. Like I feel like that's a dark art.
It is. There's a lot of dark arts.
So that's why you call it spirits.
Spirits, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's up to people's discretion what they feel is like right for their lifestyles. Some people that's not in the spectrum of things that they want to partake in, whether it be your grandma told you it was the devil, you had a witchy girlfriend that you didn't really like, things didn't end right, so now you're scared of that, whatever it is, Because
even astrology, they tell you to stay away from.
Yeah, I think because you open up a lot of like knowledge and Pandora's boxes of things that you wouldn't know otherwise, that are just kind of hidden within that.
That's true.
That's like scope of information. So
it does something to your psyche too, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what it really does is it opens up like your knowledge of self, and sometimes that's really dangerous to something that wants to keep you contained, or wants to keep you like in line, and then you figure out like, wait, I'm not supposed to be, that's not in alignment with my buildup of who I am, where the stars were when I was born. That doesn't make sense for somebody like me to be doing that. And then now it's like, oh shit, they're gonna get out of line, and they're gonna be really confident in that. That's not good.
It's I was like, because I knew you were coming, I was listening to this old podcast of this guy who used to interview people who studied UFOs or who were into witchcraft, and this one lady said that like the darkest demons you're gonna experience are the ones that are your inner, that kind of, they're there to stop you to get to your best self.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it also is like, you see these, like I wouldn't feel comfortable. I don't know what it is, even though I don't consider myself religious. Just going to like a random person to get like any kind of reading done, just a random person. I don't know what it is. Like,
well, it's up to you. I feel like you kind of like strip the importance or the validity of what they're saying. It's like if you're afraid of your own truth, or you never go there, and then they're pulling cards and like speaking these things over you, and you're like, oh my god, why would you say that? Then it's like, then that's like, we wouldn't want to do that. But if it's just like this random person that you don't know, and they're just like, oh, you're gonna like die on the toilet, it's like, okay, thanks, swag. Now there's like this whole like other version of yourself that you got to like experience for that 5 minutes that they're
you're gonna die by eating a poison quesadilla. Like, oh my god,
you're like, that sounds really real.
That sounds real. Yeah.
I don't even eat those, so I don't die that way. That's not me.
Yeah. So like with that kind of thing, I kind of want to ask, but like, what's the craziest experience you've had doing a reading? If you can share what you can share.
I've had a few crazy experiences, and they're not like supernatural, but I remember reading for this person, and I always had like a weird vibe about them, and then this is what I'm talking about. It gets awkward if there's like all these people around, and then this like the matter starts coming up, like why they're weird, or like why you feel this vibe around them. So the cards were saying basically like, there's a lot of sides to them that are constantly at war with each other, and they had a hard time like picking a stance, and they were constantly contradicting themselves, and this was something that was causing
There you go. You sound a lot better now.
Okay. Yeah. This was something that was causing like a lot of inner turmoil in their life, and I had to like break it down for them in front of a group of people that kind of were already not into them. So that was like awkward, and I was like, man, this was that kind of
like
stuff.
A relationship? It
wasn't a relationship. He was just like an odd dude, and we're like over hanging out with him, and he's like, I'm gonna do a reading, and I'm like, damn, this is not gonna be good, because you could tell he was kind of going through it.
Your friends don't like you.
Yeah, literally. He's like, you don't like yourself, and nobody else likes you either.
Damn.
And then something that was happening. So
who is this person? I'm just kidding.
They're like,
just so we can stay away from
Instagram.
him.
Just like to block him on Instagram.
Yeah, what's his IG?
Something else that would happen to me when I first started reading professionally was I had a booking link up, so at this point anybody could hit me up for readings, which was not the case when I was just doing readings for like my friends and family or people that I knew in my community. So it was a lot of white women that are super into spirituality nowadays were hitting me up, and I was experiencing like a lot of pushback, like in my intuition. Like I'd want to tell them about themselves, and there was like this strong, the best way I could explain it was like this strong spiritual presence of resistance telling me like, shut up and mind your business.
Oh, okay.
And like, it's not your place to say these things to this person. And it really opened up my eyes to like white privilege and why a lot of white people are like so oblivious to their privilege. And then it gave me like a lot of compassion for this person, because it's like, damn, like, you not only have your white privilege when you're walking around and you look white, but there's also this like huge spirit of privilege like covering you all the time. And that's really hard to like get through, because I cared for this person in the reading and I wanted to like advise her and be like, girl, you need to get your shit together, like you need to get out of that situation. But it was like I wasn't able to say that because there was a lot of like heavy pushback in her field of energy, like was not letting me through to her. And I was like, okay. So then I just kind of had to coddle her a little bit through the reading. And then I had to like end it, like cut it short and be like, I really don't have anything else for you. Like, do you have any more questions? And I wasn't really able to help her. And I told her, like, I don't think like I'm the right reader for you. Like, it was really nice talking to you, but I think you should like,
you gotta go get an exorcism.
Like you need to look for a different type of help. Like I'm just not the one, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying you were physically incapable of going, you need to get out of your own way?
Not necessarily. Like, I'm sure I could have said it, but then I would have felt really like
uncomfortable. Like
I shouldn't have said that. Like it was like something to like, I can't really. It's just like a presence was like not allowing me.
You felt threatened by that presence,
or just like pushback. Not really threatened, but it's like respect, you know? We're not in the same realm as these, like, those are the non-human entities that are coming to communicate with us in that moment. So you don't want to go up against them. I didn't feel threatened. I feel like if I were to say it, I would have felt really bad after.
Okay. So with that kind of thing, I don't know if I've told you guys before, but I had experience. That's why I'm kind of weary of all that. Because you did a reading for one of my good friends.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And, you know, that's kind of when I started read up about this again. I had experience with someone who, it wasn't readings, but she did a lot of stuff with, like, you know, witchcraft. And she would, like, come to random people and just tell them about, you know, a dead relative said this to you. And it's like, oh, how do you know that? And she did that to me. And she did that to some of my family members. I won't say the name, but it got really bad. Really bad. And that's when I kind of just stepped away from all that. Like, I don't even, like, when I hear astrology, like, because there's some stuff I experienced with that person that I can't explain to this day.
Wow. So real negative things happened.
Yes. You sound far.
Real negative things.
Yeah. No, yeah. And like, according to her, she was communicating with some of my dead relatives and saying stuff that was true, but it was just like not good.
Like dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you also have to be like really in tune with yourself when you're doing, like, you're dabbling and stuff like that. Like, personally for me, when I'm reading, I tune out. I can't remember like anything I said sometimes. Yeah, like you're just a vessel. And it's funny because I learned to do that in the church. When you're praying for people, you don't put your own sauce in there. You just like let the Spirit move.
Could that be dangerous?
I don't think so. I think like, I think it depends on the other person. Like I said, like if they're going in there and they're giving your words so much validity, which is that's dangerous. That's is true. Being like, I'm gonna go in here, whatever Gabriela says, I'm gonna live by that for the rest of my life.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
That is. Even if you're not reading tarot cards.
Right.
That kind of influence. We were talking about Charles Manson earlier.
Yeah, especially if it's one thing to take advice. Sorry, I'm just going to...
Can you adjust this so it doesn't keep saying
because I don't feel like leaning forward.
Yeah. I got you. What were you saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess it's one thing to maybe take advice from what you would consider to be some sort of expert advisor, like a therapist or your spiritual leader. In this case, you. But then, but you'd always take those things with a certain critical eye, because only you know exactly what it is that you're going through. No one else really could.
Exactly.
Because is it like people asking about like mostly advice of what to do, or is it like they want to know what's gonna happen?
So it depends. Like parents have different questions. Women always want to. Oh my god, I'd be so mad at the girls. I'm like, you're making me summon spirit for this dusty ass man with no job that obviously does not like you, bitch. Like he's not calling me asking me about you. It's like he does not care about you. If you have to ask the tarot card, like, do not make me summon spirit for a text bag. I will not do it.
How does the spirits feel about some of these dusty ass dudes being summoned? Do they feel the same way, or do they should they say you should just be like, because one thing was saying holding you back, saying don't be harsh or whatever. Do they like be like, nah, go in on her? This the third time I've been summoned for her. Like,
I guess it depends on the spirit and where.
It depends on the spirit. No, women always have like the love question, and 100% of the time it comes back to self-love. And it's never about the other person. It's never about who you're gonna be with, what they look like, what do they do. No, it's always about yourself and what you're like giving out and the reciprocity in your relationships. Usually that's what it's about. Guys always want to know about their finances. Always. True. Men are really concerned with their finances.
Is my comedy career going to take off?
Yeah.
Hey, bro, my shit is taking off.
Because I'm not worried about that. Obviously, parents care a lot about their children. It's like every single time I've done reading for a parent, that always comes up, their kids. And sometimes it'd be hella kids. Ooh. And then all the kids will come up. So I guess it just depends on the kind of person, where they are in their life. Obviously, the readings always give insight on their spiritual path. Some people have like no other spiritual practice besides going to tarot readers or watching you do tarot or stuff like that. So I have to ask them, like, well, do you pray? Like, do you ever try to contact spirit besides right now in this moment? And they'll be like, well, I bought crystals and I have this Palo Santo. Like, well, what are you doing with that?
Do you do the work?
Yeah, exactly.
Aside from all of
well, I have sage. I'm like, well, okay, so according to you, what does the sage do? And they're like, I don't know. I got it for, Urban Outfitters. I was like, why would you do that?
It's like, I got some goats to sacrifice in the backyard over a pentagram.
Exactly.
Like,
that's the thing about sage, that it's sacred. So if you buy it, you take away all the, right? That's what my Native American friends told me.
Well, there's a lot of controversy when it comes to like the sacred plants, because there is, it's kind of like trafficking of sacred spirits. So I think it all has to do with like your intention behind the actions that you're taking. As we know, a lot of people, they buy this big ass bundle of sage and then they burn like a whole chunk of it, and they're just like fumigating their home, when in reality you're supposed to break off a little leaf and it makes similar amount of smoke because it's such a smoky plant. And it reminds me of like people who smoke like eighths in the wood, and it's like
That's how I used to walk around with a cigar, look like a cigar, like of sage.
Oh, of sage?
Yeah, just like, puffing that shit.
Yeah.
Not puffing it, but just burning
the whole big thing.
Yeah.
So it's very like indulgent.
It's almost like trendy right now.
It's abusive.
Yeah.
It's abusive.
It is.
No, it is. Yeah.
Very
If you're talking like how spiritual it is and like how you want to honor the spirits,
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's what it's really for.
Yeah.
Because I know like the native friends that I have, they burn the stick. They burn is like they weave it like hella thin.
Yeah.
But you go to these yerba stores and they sell you like a whole ounce.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I know, like with the whole crystal thing, people do it for different reasons. Like I went to some, I don't know exactly, but some of the shit that I used to go to like rich people's houses, and they have all these crystals, and they would tell me what the reason. Like, oh, that's not what I heard. That's for whatever. I guess someone just so. What do you?
Yeah,
buy those?
I used to work with a lot of crystals when I first started my practice. I feel like when I deconverted from Christianity, I needed like something else to go crazy about because I was like really fanatical Christian. And it was really disheartening, like when Trump came into office and all these Christian people voted for Trump, and I'm an undocumented immigrant. So he was like he was attacking me personally. And like people around me were like voting for him, and I'm like, you understand that this puts my whole life like on, in jeopardy, where my whole lifestyle can change, I could be in danger. And it was really like confusing and disorienting for me, and I knew that I had to make a change in my life or go deeper into my spirituality. So I deconverted from the church. I still have a lot of Christian values, but I deconverted from the church. And I started going crazy over like crystal healing. Like it really captivated me, and I learned a lot about it. And as far as I know, the minerals have a lot of physical properties that you can literally like use it for like your skin. But we have a ethereal body or a spiritual body, which is like the chakra system. And when you interact with the crystals, these are like, you need to understand the crystals have been here for years and years and years and billions and eons, and they were like in Madagascar, and now they're like in Central Richmond in the hood. So even just that in itself is like a really special thing. And they come from all over the world, and they hold, there's so much integrity to a crystal. Because you can tumble it, and you can cut it, and you can carve it, and all of the things, and it stays true to itself. So it has an influence and an impact on your spiritual body like nothing else. And it can help to, I would say, more than heal, because I don't really like that word healing. It reminds me like when you have a cut and you put Neosporin on it, and you're like, I'm healed. But
replenish.
It activates those parts of your body, and it activates those parts of your psyche to say, like I remember I was working with really like dark brown crystals, and then I just wanted to listen to like Gucci Mane and like get into like my root, and like that, like the 808s and like the really like hard bass music. And I feel like that really like carried me into it carried me out of like a depressive episode where I didn't feel grounded, and I didn't feel like myself, and I didn't feel rooted. And working with the crystals, maybe they don't work, but you read so much about it, and then you get into it that you feel better because you're knowledgeable in these things also. Because
I know like there's crystals that do, like you said, physical. I went to a mine in Virginia City. I don't know if you guys, I think I've talked about it, but it was, I think, 150 feet deep in the mountain. And there were some crystals they had there that glow in the dark.
That's
and there were some that, like, if you come across certain minerals, like, that shit'll kill you within seconds.
Oh shit!
Of breathing the same air.
Okay, yeah.
There's some weird shit with crystals. So that's why I'm like, I don't know enough, so let's stay away from all crystals altogether. But like I said, there's, like I said, I used to go to these millionaire houses, and like, I would see books, no TV, and hella crystals in some people's houses. Like,
and they're really expensive,
and it's an ancient ass thing. Like, just like I know tarot card readings and like a lot of the a lot of that mystical stuff it predates religion.
Yeah.
For the most part, you know.
Yeah.
Like the zodiac stuff. I know that.
Zodiac stuff, yeah.
They've been practicing that since like the first whatever.
Well, all like the early scientists, that's what they would base all of their findings out of. And it's funny because now as science gets further and further, it's going way back to Kabbalic teaching.
Yeah.
So like the more knowledgeable they get in the science, the closer it is to Kabbalah and spirituality, because the early scientists had already broke it down and correlated it back to spirituality. So the more they try to separate spirituality from science, the closer it gets.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can you give us an example?
Yeah, like Nikola Tesla, he was all about like vibrations and energy and kind of like numerology and stuff
he was
like
big
that.
on numerology.
Sure.
So now that we're, getting so much deeper into this type of science, they're bringing it all the way back to that, which is literally the consistency of all spiritual practice.
Interesting. I remember he was definitely
Deep into numerology.
Definitely into numerology and vibrations.
He's the guy that...
What I think of most is that he had his own version of electrical cable, rivaling that of Edison. But I don't know
AC transit. But
I would be
the bus, man.
Exactly.
I would be curious as to see exactly how his studying of numerology and vibrations led to powering the lights in this building. How does the math match up? Numerology versus whatever electricians are studying, right?
You're
an electrician,
I just run the cables, man.
I just know
they do all that other shit.
I just know which one's gonna be electrocuted.
Well, like for example, and this is gonna sound crazy, but the Nazis had the best machines at the time, and they were all deeply into the occult mysticism.
Well, the high-ranking ones were into the cult, but
but they're the ones that came up with the shit.
Well, the scientists themselves.
Yeah, man.
It's arguable.
They were all Kabbalic. Kabbalic studies, and they mixed it into the science.
Yeah, dude.
Was Albert Einstein also into Kabbalic studies? Because he snuck over from Germany.
Wouldn't be surprised if he was.
The atomic.
Because Nikola Tesla was also extremely into that.
I'm pretty sure Einstein was one of the Kabbalic students too.
I still would like to know how because everything I've ever read was just straight physics.
But
spiritual about it.
That's the source of physics. Is a lot of Kabbalic studies.
That makes a lot of sense.
Interesting.
It makes a lot of sense. Objects of motion, staying in motion, all these different energies and stuff like that. Coming along and stuff like this, string theory. So it makes sense that all this
But it's a deeper understanding, I think. Yeah. When it comes to the exact math and the equations and mapping all that out versus just speaking the truth to power,
Sorry, when Corday was talking, it just sounded like he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. He was just repeating what you guys were saying.
No, I mean, because I hated physics, but I remember that was the one main thing that I remember from it and stuff like that, and it just
all these symbols and fucking.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I didn't do well in physics, but I remember
But this is the one thing you remember.
I can't take your word for it.
Yeah, I can't really take your word for it.
Motionless, acted on by outside force, stuff like that. So so it's the connection of spirituality and then physics, and it goes down from biology to scientific. So it's talking about outer space and then things of all these different things and what scientists believe in, string theory.
You just memorized what was on the back of the textbook. I had that same one.
Nah, this was high school, dude. I don't remember that shit from I ain't got that damn book. Fuck no.
No, but as far
little things.
When we talk about force or forces in physics, we're usually talking about things in physical motion. If I throw a ball across the hallway or whatever, that's before I throw it, it's potential energy. But once it's being thrown, that's kinetic energy. And as it's speeding through, that's the motion. There's no unseen guiding hand throwing it at that point. It's just pulled down by the force of gravity.
The unseen guiding hand is, why did he throw the ball?
Right. Now that's a spiritual question though, because if I'm throwing the ball to injure someone,
I see what you're saying, but what we're talking about is all these fucking, especially in that time, all these geniuses were deep into mystical shit. It's why? You look at all of them, Benjamin Franklin. That's another dude who created some
awesome things.
Yeah, but if you look at what he was part of the Hellfire Club, like a really popular mystical group.
I'm glad you brought them up. So what I know about them.
But that was just one of the ones.
True.
He was.
But what I know about the Hellfire Club, for one, he went over to Europe, I think, to visit them once or twice or something like that.
He went to go in France, right?
Right. Yeah, no, they were a British clique. Well, they started off in Ireland, and then that offshoot kind of burned out, and then there was another group that sort of were inspired by them and started doing stuff. But all of the spiritual things were just mostly rumor. I don't want to go into full detail here, but what they, from what most people understand, it was just a bunch of elitist folks who like to have orgies, which were publicly unacceptable at the time,
as you do,
and and they had like their with any club, they had their like, oh, this is the initiation practice, all that kind of stuff. The leader at the time, whose name escapes me, was actually a devout Christian believer, but he didn't necessarily want to do church. In modern terms, you'd call him a very spiritual person. Like, he wanted a connection with God, but like he would do stuff like dress up in a black robe, claim to be the devil, and scare the Sam Hill out of a local church that's there. But then he also would read his Bible. He was an interesting dichotomy of a man, really.
But, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But they weren't involved in any like
how can you say
normal? Well, from what the research,
everything that you just said, like, sounds like there was some weird shit going on.
Yes, there were
because like you
things.
dress up, you don't just dress up in a fucking black robe and hang out in the
Well,
who the fuck does that? Unless you're doing some weird shit. Like,
he ran into the church to prank them, but he
that's a pretty fucking
gnarly prank. My point is
that could get you lynched back in the day.
My point is that they weren't worshiping Baal or something. They all came from the same Judeo-Christian background, and he was.
The people in power do some weird shit.
I read what I read. Okay.
I mean, even have you heard of like the CERN situation that's going on, and they're literally tapping into like non-human entities and like
doing some weird shit.
They're doing weird stuff that like is tearing into the fabric of reality.
And they're splitting atoms in weird ways. That's like that's what I know as far as like
ways that aren't like the usual way you split an atom with a giant collider.
Well, that is a giant collider.
It's a giant collider, but I hear there's like other stuff they're creating that's just like
strange.
Like antimatter. They're tapping into antimatter, which we are never supposed to have contact with, because that's like the really low vibrational non-human.
People that live around there want that shit shut down because they're like, what if they actually like cause an explosion?
There's actually a theory, or more of a hypothesis, because they haven't quite proved it yet, that most of the universe out in space is antimatter. There's like some unseen thing that holds it all together that defies what we understand to be gravity. I can't remember the name of this professor, but she's actually been studying it for decades now, and they have their theories on like how it works, but they're unable to quite prove it, you know? Interesting stuff.
Yeah, that is really all of that.
If I don't understand it, I fear it.
Just like a regular person.
Like story of my life.
They say it's just a bunch of particles floating out there, but it's like, how do the particles move, and what makes these particles different than the quote unquote normal particles?
Yeah. I listened to a lot of interviews about CERN, and one dude, I forgot his name, but he says is like what they're doing. Sorry. And some dude describes like they're the worst thing that could happen is they fucking cause an explosion that is like the biggest nuclear explosion ever.
Yeah. Cool.
Another thing is they could do something where they actually cause a black hole.
Yeah, the black hole, and I like 100% believe that they do toss us into a new reality when they do stuff like that, because they're messing with like really integral parts of existence.
Yeah.
And like down to the core, like down to the very tiny part. It's like they reduce everything. And I do feel like, have you guys seen all those videos on the Mandela effect?
Yeah.
I've seen a few of them. Yeah.
I
And
love
like,
alternate universe sci-fi. It's good stuff.
yeah, but it's like real. It's not sci-fi. There's nothing fi about it. It's non-fi.
I mean, there's like another you out there, and like, I mean, I love the theory. It'd be a lot of fun.
I hope not. I hope there is.
I think there's just a way to.
You have a talk show on CBS, Earth 43, my friend.
Yeah, but I'm dying inside, bro.
My hair's not this nice.
I've got a platinum rap album, and it's great. It's great on Earth 50.
Yeah, Marcos is a comedian in the other world, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a rock band in Richmond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Phil got hair, another one.
Well, there's like, I mean, this is more not on this level, but like, what was that thing when they first discovered nuclear bombs, or when they first created nuclear bombs? They were bombing the sky. You remember that? Project Starfish. I think that was called.
Why were they doing that?
That's what it was
Because they were testing. They were like, hey, let's not bomb here. Let's bomb up there. And there was an incident where they bombed, I guess, so much that like there was like a
Debris.
no, what was it? You remember what it was? Like it made like the atmosphere like vibrate or some shit.
Shit.
So it's like
it broke the sound barrier or something like that, or something.
some shit like that.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like radiation is crazy, man.
Yeah.
All the effects that it has on the.
That in itself, people say is like a mystical shit.
Yeah, these are all like, you know.
Back in the days, it would have been called mystical.
Right, but they're just atoms. We can see them with the microscope. Like, it's not like when I think of magic or
You sound like you're getting defensive.
no, not at all. I'm just
No
speaking
magic
facts.
allowed.
Like, no, I'm just speaking facts.
Put your wands away, motherfuckers.
I don't want to. I just saying it from a scientific perspective. Like,
For sure.
we understand that these atoms are made of electrons and protons, and like we get how they float about, and they make up matter and all that kind of stuff. Like, whenever you read spiritual texts, they don't break it down quite. They usually make it seem like it's, there's a spirit that just flows all over the place. So the universe it's more esoteric in those
Right.
terms. But the science is just really about discovering how our world works. And it appears that those atoms don't necessarily serve a master per se. They just kind of exist, right? They're not
Is that
some
true, though?
collective consciousness. Well, I mean, I guess you can't really prove one way or the other.
Well, that's the mystical part.
Yeah. Will we ever really know?
That's true.
Or you remember like that particle theory where if they were watching the particles, they would behave one way, and then if you looked away, if they weren't being watched, then they would behave a different way.
No.
I forgot what it was called, but it was like this scientific experiment where they were putting like a barrier and they were sending particles through the barrier, and if they were watching them, if there was a person with eyes on them, that they would go a certain direction and behave in a certain way, and if the person was not watching them and they put a camera on it and nobody was watching them, they would behave in different ways. So that kind of thing is like, so what's the explanation for that? Or
they have life?
Yeah, are they like sentient beings? Are they a non-human entity? They exist among us?
The camera shy?
Are they camera shy?
Human shy.
Stuff like that. So
stop watching me.
and I think a lot of that goes back to like AI too, is like the way that they built AI, and it's like, does it behave differently when there's not like,
when there's no one watching it?
there's not a template for it to behave, can it like have a mind of its own, like those are all kind of like that. It's just like the non-human entity aspect of like that
sentient when it's
and when it can,
because AI already exists, right? I'm an idiot on this. Because at my job that I used to work, where I got fucking fired, there's like explain to us that AI, like, this is how you have to turn on the AI so that the camera's smart, and it's like, but it's highly regulated. I was like, oh shit, okay, like
Yeah, I don't think we're quite at Skynet level.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but it's like a version of it exists.
But
like smart technology exists.
Yeah, and it's usually within the bounds of how we program it, what to do. But it would be interesting if a robot could actually reason and think for itself.
That'd be scary. It
would.
iRobot.
Well, since you you mentioned Skynet, that's another thing that was like talking about spirituality. As far as dream goes, James Cameron dreamt of everything that he made Terminator of, he was having dreams about that, about how the AI would take over the world. So he wrote all that shit, and that's what eventually he wrote as the Terminator.
Yeah, I've had some wild dreams that would make great stories.
And that's another thing.
Like,
dreams are hella fucking.
It's just human psyche.
Human imagination.
Human imagination.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
What about deja vu? When if you dream like deja vu in your dream, what is that then? Is that like you said part of the human psyche?
You've had deja vu in your dreams?
Yeah, dude. It's gotten weird. Like at first I just would randomly see it like while like awake and stuff like that. Then it started happening like it'll be like I'll be in a dream and then middle like all of a sudden go from a dream deja vu and then go back to the dream.
Yeah,
I've never had deja vu in my dream.
No,
I don't think I've had deja vu. In real life all the time, but not in my dream.
Actually, I take that back. I've had a few dreams where I felt like it happened before, and then I woke up and was like, "Oh, it's just a dream."
When I was in that mind, and I'm afraid of like being in closing places, but when I was in that mind, I had deja vu. Like, oh, I feel like I've done this before.
Dang.
Yeah. I've dreamt of the same things before, but it never felt like deja vu. Does that count? I don't, because you know how deja vu feels like you feel it. You're like, oh.
Dude, one time I had deja vu all day.
I've had that before.
And I was tripping, and I was like, is this going to be the rest of my life?
It's like Groundhog
you start going
Day.
into psychosis, you know, because I was having it from the moment I woke up and I used to work at this restaurant, and like everywhere I would look, I felt deja vu, and I was like, oh my God, like, now, please, Lord.
Was this before or after you did tarot reading?
It was during, when I was getting serious about it.
Oh, shit.
And I've also had like different situations where I feel like cold spots all over my body or different parts of my body when I'm like going into, I mean, it could be just like anxiety and your body's reacting to the anxiety, you know?
Low blood circulation.
Yeah, stuff like that. But it would be like in the same spot in my body every time. And it would be when I was going through transitional periods where I'm like afraid or I'm anxious or I'm like or unsure or feel unsafe. And when I read up on it, people get those cold spots and they're supposed to be angels or like ethereal beings that come to like comfort you and be with you. So I'm like, it could be anxiety, it could be like an angel, who knows what it is, but I've definitely experienced like those type of things.
I've experienced cold spots too, and like I think I mentioned this to you. I didn't know this until afterwards, but in that room where I experienced like cold spots, someone was they stabbed them in the neck till the head almost came off.
Oh shit!
And 5 other people throughout the years committed suicide in that room. And when I was in that room, I felt cold spots and hella anxious. And then I found out about that. And I was like, gotta go.
Well, it sounds like you're like pretty sensitive to these things.
So sensitive.
Haunted, man.
Yeah, it seems like you're pretty open and like maybe curious. And you're
I think so.
You be like this.
Yeah. I'm definitely one of these
guys.
Yeah.
Especially because you've all talked. I sent him a video once at night. They're like, don't be sending me shit at night,
bro. I was like, I got so fucking Jerry. He was like, yo, bro, I was in this room right here, and I was feeling shit. I was like, JD, why? It is 12:30 in the fucking morning. Stop sending me this shit,
to
dude.
me, I'm interested in that because I kind of feel like I don't believe in it, but I do believe in it, and I've experienced some stuff, and I'm still like, nah. Because I know how when you're tired, you see shit. When you're high as fuck, you see shit. You know, you experience shit when you're under the influence of stuff.
Bro, all the time, bro. When I be tired, I see shit all the time. It be fucking, especially like driving back from like a comedy show. Yeah. Be just seeing, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And
then
you're
tapping into like a different reality.
Or that too.
Yeah.
Or that too. Because especially you go to like places and people have weird energy. I have felt like that. Yeah. I have felt, you know.
That's the thing for real.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like there was like someone I would be around a lot, and it felt like I couldn't take a deep breath every time I was around that person. And I found out that dude was like a bad person.
Yeah,
I don't want to say, you know.
Yeah.
What's his Instagram so we can follow him?
Let's block him.
Let's block him.
You can tell us off air.
No longer with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank God.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so he like moved out of the state?
He moved himself out of this world. Let's say that.
Yeah. Nah, it be shit like that, dude. Like you be like
so dark, dude.
He's in that room.
So he's in another spiritual realm. Is what you're telling us?
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Nah, but it's like, like shit like that is real though.
Yeah,
like, you be like around people and you be like,
intuition. It could be intuition, or it could be, you know, like do you believe the dead come back to talk to us?
I mean, I'm sure they can if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never experienced, in my experience, like people ask me, do you see supernatural things? I don't see supernatural things. Like I've seen, I guess I like see shadows sometimes, but they're not scary. I always experience what I would call like a demon or like a really dark entity when I deal with people and I see like the worst side of them. And I feel like it tears me up. Like whether it be in romantic relationships or friendships, I feel like I'm somebody who definitely like antagonizes the worst in people, no matter if I'm like literally antagonizing them with a bad attitude or if it just me being who I am. I see like a lot of darkness in people, and I feel like it's part of my journey to like love them through that and accept them and see them, you know, with love and like see them as humans still, even though they hurt me really bad. And I felt, you know, I don't know if you guys ever heard this, but like when somebody rejects you emotionally, your mind registers it as physical pain. So it hurts the same as physical pain.
So rejection's a motherfucker.
Yeah, and like rejection and like neglect and all those things really hurt really bad. So I feel like I've definitely experienced like low vibrational supernatural experiences like that within relationships, more so than like seeing like a demon, you know, like under the bed or something.
You feel things, but you don't see them.
Right.
Yeah. That white privilege demon must be really fucking with you. That's literally what I was thinking. And she was like, yeah, I really felt the worst. I was like, that's that white privilege right there.
Yeah, that one is scary. That one's the scariest one.
Has anybody ever like did tarot card reading for you? Like, so I've always wanted.
Yeah, I was going to ask, who's your spiritual advisor
you
go to?
You know, one time I let this girl pull cards for me, and I think she got so nervous. She had this spread out, and then she looked at the card and she looked at me and she was like, I don't know. I was like, you don't know?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a tarot reader, so I found a few on Instagram that like I actually kind of trust. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to find like a good solid tarot reader, and I think also because I do readings and like the care and
you know what to expect.
Right. And
Can you do it to yourself?
Yeah, I pull cards for myself a lot, but it's different when somebody's looking at you from a non-biased perspective. Yeah. And they're picking up your energy with no like opinions about you, and they're just reading your energy and it translated to the cards. Then like when I do it for myself, it's always like so extravagant, and it's, you know, your own emotions and feelings coming up. And sometimes it just tells you what you want to hear, or sometimes the tarot be hella mean, like just says the worst, meanest things. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you no more.
Looks like you're gonna deserve this.
It's like the two-headed swordsman says you need to get your shit together.
Exactly.
How do you feel about people that like just come up to you without any tarot reading, without anything, and just kind of tell you stuff that you're gonna be doing in the future?
It's funny.
It's weird though.
It's like, I don't know, it's like a crackhead on the BART train.
Yeah, you know? Literally.
Like, that's how I feel about it. Like if it's unwarranted and unsolicited, it's like okay. But then it's the same like people that are like with the church and they have the Bible and they're like, you know, it's like, okay, bro.
This guy walked up to my sister's once and where they were getting tacos on 23rd Street. He walked up and he told all my sisters something about themselves that was true, and what he told one of my sisters that, oh yeah, so your baby's a girl, and she wasn't even like at the
showing
time. Yeah. And it was just so weird, like some weird ass shit.
Yeah, I think sometimes like those people just like they're just tickling.
Good guessers.
They're tickling good guessers. Maybe they do have the gift, and they're just like tickling themselves.
They always win rock paper scissors.
Every time. Rock paper scissors.
You know, there's some people that always win rock paper scissors.
It's
like
them.
I don't know what it is. It's them.
Yeah.
It's fucking mutants, bro. Would you do a tarot reading?
Okay. I have this very contradictive reason why I would and would not.
Okay.
I'm such like an anxious person that like I don't want you to tell me like what I want to happen in life is not going to happen. But then I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear, because then I'm like, are you lying to me?
Yeah.
And then, like, yeah, but I want to hear it. But like,
you pull out his cards and you just look at them.
I don't want
to say it's all gonna work out. Like, okay, cool.
Like, not even that, because then I'm thinking, like, what part of it's going to work out? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to have 18 million follow-up questions that are probably not going to be able to...
So if you do ever get a tarot reading, usually the cards that come up are for that energy in that moment. They're not for the energy you had yesterday. They're not for the energy you're going to have tomorrow. It's for that moment in that moment in time when we're here talking. This is the reality of this situation right now. So you can either take that and change it because you want it to be different, or you can build on it because you want it to work out the way that you're feeling right now.
I've never had it explained like that, so now I'm more willing to do that.
And that's how, at least that's how I practice. I do an energy reading at the time, like right now, and then we're gonna talk about how you feel right now in this moment.
Right.
So if you don't like the cards that you get, you have the option to change that, and you have the option to take steps. And then, you know, we talk about that, like, well, I don't like this part. What do you advise? We could pull more cards or talk about what it is.
You put up a no demons allowed sign during your reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'd be more interested in that, because, I didn't know that. I thought it was like, whatever you get is like your destiny, and it's like,
and then
I don't want to know my destiny.
You know, it's like, is it that serious to you? Like, these little cards are gonna tell you what your destiny is. Like, what about all the work and all the opportunities and all the work, like your whole life you've lived, you know? And now there's like this tiny ass card telling you, like, you know, I think to me, I desensitize myself from a lot of things when it comes to that, because, you know, I've gone through really dark times, and I pulled really terrible, like, spreads, and I'd be like, man, this is dark. Like, if I keep living this way, it's gonna get worse.
Every day's different.
Every moment is different.
Every moment's different. You never know. You might hear your favorite song of all time today.
I already have.
Yeah.
I played it like 6 times coming up.
You might find one that's better than
Probably made it.
Oh, there's 2.
There's 2.
Yeah. My favorite song changes like every week.
I respect it.
Constantly new music.
Yeah, you have to.
What's your current favorite song right now?
It's called "Evil I Go" by Stand Atlantic.
Evil?
Evil I Go. Yeah, but it's.
See, he's already on the wrong path.
No, but it's this pop funk. It's like. It's actually super poppy, and it has nothing to do with evil at all.
That's what you think. That's how they get you, right? That's how they get you.
Well, we saw the interview with her, and they were like, what does that mean?
They recorded it
like,
at CERN.
She was like, I have no idea what the song's about. Like, I just sang it like when I was writing it, and then it just sounded good.
Going back to like how you say you don't even know what you say sometimes, but I've heard this from a lot of musicians that they kind of tune out when they're writing some shit, and they just kind of let the whatever, or musicians. That in itself is what I would say. Like,
I don't know if you
like divine inspiration, the way the Bible is supposedly written, they just tune out.
Yeah.
But would you say you tune out though? I wouldn't say tune out, because you're trying to figure out.
But it just comes out. Like, you've experienced this when you're killing on stage and random shit just comes to your head and you kill with that.
Yeah, all the time. I was going to say that, in the moment.
You watch,
I will just say random things, though.
You guys watch Soul?
Oh my God, I literally was thinking that. I literally was about to say that when they're in the what did he call it in the movie?
I forgot.
When they're in the zone.
In the zone,
And it'd be like athletes and.
You tune out in a way.
Yeah, you are tuned out.
And then shit just magically.
That's more on stage.
Yeah, I
was saying not writing process,
when you're
but
jamming,
you actually have to think.
you have to think. Yeah.
No, but when you're also
when you're
jamming,
stage, it's different.
Jamming with your friends
that's
and shit.
performance-wise. Yeah, performing-wise, you're zoned out. But
when we're going back and forth, like, I'm not saying that's like the same thing, but like, you know, when
when you're jamming and you're in the groove of something you've already like written the music for, you definitely zone out.
Right, because then sometimes you improvise and come up with other shit.
Yeah, freestyling, that happens.
Even in sports, I remember Mean Joe Green gave a part, because you know, like in football, they say get in the zone. You're supposed to get in the zone. He says, he's like, people who say you're supposed to be in the zone, they don't know the fuck. He's like they don't know what the hell they talking about. He's like, I played 13 years in the league. I was in the zone one time, and I was just like, damn. And he was just felt like unblockable and stuff. It was like this coming like kind of a thing. He's like, but you always pregame like or prep try to like, I'm trying to get in the zone. I'm trying to get in the zone. It was like, it's really hard to do, but like on stand up, like you kind of like sometimes like stuff just comes to me in the moment, like, and I'm like kind of that's like really like in the zone.
Yeah.
but it's like a different, but it's hard to reenact that.
It is.
It's like I want to get back to that point, but sometimes it's like you really can't get back to that point. You might get close
into something.
Yeah, you might get close to it, or you might get better than it or something. But it's hard to get back to that exact same point.
This is totally unrelated, but it's still on topic. That I feel really stupid. That I used to think the tarot cards were the same as the loteria cards.
I can see that. And tarot cards have funny ones. The other day, I was playing with these gummy bear tarot.
Yeah.
And it's like these really hilarious gummy bear illustrations. And there's like all types of different tarot that people make. It's really cool. I'm actually working on my own deck right now.
Oh, cool.
There's some people that do like shells, right? Like they do shells.
Yeah, so that's more like Santeria.
Santeria,
yeah.
voodoo, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, voodoo.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah. That's another episode. We're almost ready to close out the episode.
Okay.
I want you. Are you open to our listeners hitting you up?
Yeah, sure. You guys can hit me up on my Instagram DMs if you.
Careful what you say.
No white people.
You just put her in the spot to say that.
This white privilege demon is like she don't want to
Keep
do
your white privilege demon the fuck away.
On the skin color.
No, especially now that you mentioned Richmond in the air. No.
Okay. Oh wait, maybe. But I do. I'm based out of Richmond.
That's all our listeners from.
Yeah. I'm based out of Richmond. I work there. My community's there.
What's your IG again?
Babyface Dream Girl, BBYFACEDREM.
And you have music too. I know we didn't get out of the music because this stuff is interesting to me.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, I do make music now. It's something else that I've started tapping into. Honestly, like being in Richmond, I work out of the Shop Studios with Will Gennaro. Mm-hmm. He's like the first person who influenced me and kind of threw me in the booth. So thanks to him, now I'm a pop star as well.
Produces a lot of music there.
He produces and engineers a lot of music there. So he introduced me to that world, and I've been dabbling, and I'm having a great time. I never thought I would make music. I've always been like clumsy and like offbeat, but I'm definitely finding like my rhythm, my flow. It's a lot of fun.
Your spirit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is really cool. What kind of music do you sing? Or?
I don't sing that much. I make Spanish rap music. It's kind of like I started calling it freaky goth, freaky goth music.
Wow.
Nice.
So I started off doing like pop and like singing. I think because I'm a girl, so people are like, I want you to sing. I'm like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And then I made some rap music, and I really like the rap music. And I'm making like kind of like darker sounding rap. And then I started working with this new producer recently. His name is Nanosaur on Instagram. And he's like punk rock. He's a really, really good indie artist. And he really nailed like the freaky goth sound. So actually,
Latina Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, something like that. Like 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, like, nice. Yeah.
Like really like gritty. But then obviously my voice is like feminine and soft. Nice. So it sounds really good. I'm like a huge fan of the sound, and I think it really like encapsulates my personality and kind of my aesthetic of what I want to be like on stage and stuff like that. So I'm having a great time making music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super dope.
That is awesome.
Well, shit. I'm glad I finally had you out here. I know we talked about doing this like 6 months ago.
Yeah, he's like, I'm quitting the podcast. It's not happening. I'm like, is it because you don't want me to be on it?
No, yeah. So, I think I still need to think about more if I want to do a tarot reading. But
yeah,
if I do, I know who I would come to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would love to read for all of you. If you guys are interested, even if you're just being curious, like I said, you don't take these things to heart. Yeah. I mean, there's just like an experience to tell.
It could just be a mirror of what's going on in your life right now. It's crazy because when, I know I'm doing bad sometimes, but when your friends see your life, like, dude, you're doing really bad. Like, oh, really? Like, I know, but really? Like, yeah. I don't know. It's
100% a mirror, and it's 100% like a compass of where you're at and where you have the potential to go if you continue that path.
Okay.
You guys got anything else before we sign off?
Maybe we'll go together one day.
Okay, I'll hold your hand through this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Rappy golf, mixing golf sounds super dope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. send us a link so we can attach them to
absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. It's on your page though, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I haven't put any music out yet.
Spotify.
Some of it is on Spotify. I think one song is on Spotify. I'm kind of still like in the cocoon when it comes to the music.
Oh, okay. Gothy cocoon.
Yes, I'm in the freaky goth cocoon right now.
Freaky goth cocoon.
Freaky goth cocoon.
All right. Well, shit. Like I said.
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep you in the
what's
loop.
the name for Spotify so people can listen?
Babyface Dream Girl.
Babyface Dream
Same
Girl
as
too?
my Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do you have a freaky goth name or something like that?
No.
Or just
Babyface Dream Girl is like my overall brand. I definitely want to build on. I literally just got freaky tattooed. Look.
I saw that earlier. I was like, what's that? I was going to ask you about it.
I don't know. I think it's like such a cool vibe. You know, it reminds me when I think of freaky is like. You know,
freaky and goth. This is like
freaky goth is perfect. Someone was like, I saw this post today. They were like, if the global warming continues, goth is gonna phase out. And I was like, freaky goth is the answer. Freaky goth is the answer.
All that black leading the heat stroke.
Freaky goth is the answer. I think it's just like a good vibe, and like Evie Queen, she made that song that's like, just because I'm dancing sexy don't mean like I'm gonna go to bed with you.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that empowerment of like owning yourself and being like attractive and not having to always give it up, So that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah. Amen to that. We'll end on that note.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for coming once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's been the Voice Party.
And we're out.
We out. Freaky goth.
Freaky goth.
Freaky goth 2024.
All right, that was an